In Dominica, there is an extraordinary doctor. And no products China call. Hey, this is Sai, and you're watching SAT TV. Big up SAT, big up SAT, big up SAT.
Whenever the iron play, I'll be there. Wherever the steel band play, I'll be there. Anytime it's carnival, yo, festival, bacchanal, behind the big truck, down the road, everybody, they know that I'll be there. Yo, this is Mr. Challenge. You're watching SAT TV, the people's choice.
Yo, this is Ace Banton in SAT building, baby. You're watching SAT Telecom, that's the #1 choice. Boom!
Good evening, I am your presenter, Shana Esprit. Welcome to SAT TV News. Among the major developments, woman hospitalized following serious vehicular accident in Canefield. UN envoy suggests steps to end the political impasse in Haiti. Hugo Chavez returns to Venezuela after Cuba cancer care. And in sports, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers put a halt in Scotiabank Baffin States Championship celebrations. Details of these and other stories after the break.
SAT TV. Drink your drink. SAT TV. SAT Telecom. SAT TV. Crossfire the bomb. SAT TV. Dominica the norm. TV. Yeah man, SAT TV Crossfire. The people's choice. That's for real. Right.
Welcome back. In tonight's stories, Calypsonians releasing their songs late in the Calypso season worked towards their disadvantage. This was one of many observations made by former head of the Carnival Organizing Committee, Mr. Alwyn Booley. He said, when this is done, the public do not get adequate time to understand the message in the song, and as a result, they cannot relate to it. Mr. Booley said the need for more time for Calypsonians to prepare for the Calypso season is something that the Dominica Calypso Association needs to look at for Calypso 2014 and beyond.
But that having been said, I think when it comes to Calypso, we had a wonderful crop of Calypsos again, maybe a little below the standard of last year in terms of the number of big hits. But again, our Calypsonians, I think, rank among the best in the Caribbean. We really need to look at marketing our Calypsos a lot better. True, it's hard to get to Trinidad Carnival, which is where all the scouts are looking for new talent. But our Calypsonians can in fact attend other carnivals such as St. Lucia Carnival, Grenada, St. Kitts, Montserrat, all these various other carnivals. And
Mr. Booley stated the DCA needs to help the Calypsonians in marketing their songs while making the necessary changes to promoting Dominica regionally and internationally. He said this needs to be done in the form of live music, compact disc, and other recordings. Mr. Booley revealed that just like Calypso music, Booyah music has great potential outside of Dominica once marketed properly. With our Booyah bands gaining access to the Bajan and Trinidadian markets, he is of the view that they can enjoy international success just like Calypso.
You know, some people complain about on the road you don't hear the Calypsos, you just hear Booyah music. We have to find a way of sharing the music, both the Calypsos and the Booyah music, on the road on the Carnival Monday and Tuesday. And that's always a challenge, but I think that's something we'll be working on. As you know, I'm still a member of the Dominica Festivals Committee, and we're looking at all these possibilities of how to improve working along with the Road Committee and Queen Show Committee and so forth. The other area which I feel we need to look at where Calypso is concerned is the need for establishing rules and regulations. Because if they were in place, maybe we would have avoided a lot of the Calypso war that went on this year and left a bitter taste in the minds of quite a few people. So a thing like the question of what is permitted on stage in terms of lyrics and assistance for lyrics needs to be looked at and regulated very, very carefully. Because to my mind, if
this is vital, he said, and if Calypsonian the Hunter decided to pursue legal action against the DCA for the incident, they would be in a difficult position. though Hunter decided to step down before the association made their decision after the footage was reviewed. Mr. Bully mentioned that the DCA has no rules or regulations as to what the Calypsonians can and cannot use at competitions.
There are no rules as to what happens in the audience. Supposing somebody in the audience puts up a plaque and has the lyrics for a particular Calypsonian while he's singing, who are you going to penalize? The Calypsonian or the person in the park? If the person has paid their money to come to the park, you give them back their money, they might demand the right. What can you do and what can't you do? All these regulations need to be put in place, and I think the Calypso Association has some homework to do in that particular area.
Efforts to reach the president of Dominica Calypso Association, Mr. Kelly Williams, for comment proved futile, but SAT TV News will provide an update as soon as contact is made. In other stories, Acting Public Relations Officer of the Fire Department, Mr. Wayne Later, provided an update to SAT TV News on the two individuals who were involved in a head-on collision in Canefield on Thursday, February 14th.
And confirmed that on February 14th, 2013 at approximately 8:05, the Roseau Fire Station responded to an accident, motor vehicle accident call in the Canefield area. That accident took place directly opposite NP gas station. I can confirm that 6 people were transported to the accident and emergency ward of accident and emergency department of PMH, 5 of who were treated and subsequently released. One of those victims was actually admitted to the Alford ward of the PMH. I can confirm that it was the driver of the bus. 3 vehicles were involved in that accident, 1 CRV Jeep, a passenger bus, and a car. Meanwhile, I can also confirm that on the same day, in a separate incident which happened at about 12 in the afternoon, 2 individuals were transported to the A&E department of the PMH, where they were treated for accident-related emergencies.
Mr. Later is asking all road users throughout the Commonwealth of Dominica to exercise maximum caution whilst driving. He says although driving on our roads may be difficult at times, we need to be observant of the safety rules and measures that are implemented. Mr. Later touched on a very important point, which is taking pictures at the scene. He noted, although media or individuals may want and need the news at that point, whilst it is new, these actions may further injure the victims.
One of the things that we encourage is that whenever somebody is in an accident, we suspect them for spinal injury. And with spinal injury, you must do limited movement. And here somebody is stuck in a vehicle, and to them they know that they have problem, they have pains in their back, which is one of the signs of suspected spinal injury. And you are trying to get a picture and they do not want you, but their arms are stuck also, and they move. And in moving, they can do more damage to the spine. Because one of the things that we deal with whenever we're extricating somebody, moving somebody from a vehicle, is ensure that their spine stays straight.
Mr. Later added that most persons often assume that the fire department has been contacted when accidents occur, and then blame them for the late response when they were not contacted.
On Thursday, there was a civilian who complained, and he said he complained of some some of the passerbys, because the moment where he was when he heard the collision, he rushed out, and there were people on the scene before he did. And instead of calling the fire department, they were actually one of the individuals were actually pushing himself through to get pictures of the victims inside of the vehicle. So one of the things that we do in the fire department is that we take note of the time, and if you realize in my report I give the time that the call comes in and we respond immediately. But what we find happening a lot of times is that some people on the scene, one of the things they assume that somebody called the fire department, but sometimes nobody called the fire department yet. So we want to encourage people, the moment the incident happens, instead of going around taking pictures and assuming that the fire department has been called already, pick up your phone and call.
Here is a tip for drivers who overtake other vehicles.
And it's a coordinated action, and it's not just one man figure, I can pass and I pass. You must have a clear vision of what's up ahead. And we encourage chauffeurs on the road, when you are about to overtake, you should blow, use your horning device, and also indicate using your signals your intention to the chauffeurs, that the chauffeur who is ahead of you, because the person must give you a go ahead also. So you blow and indicate, showing them this is what I want to do. So if it is clear, because if you're driving directly behind a vehicle, most likely to see ahead, you must pull off that vehicle or look so you can. So sometimes you need the cooperation, not sometimes, but all times, you need the cooperation of the chauffeur that you're overtaking.
In more news, in an effort to offer Dominicans a high standard of living at affordable prices, a number of Dominicans living abroad have pulled their resources together to create the Dukesville Project. Managing Director of Dukesville Limited, Mr. Olu Obonyo, stated, the first phase of the housing development complex is currently under construction in Dukesville and will consist of 47 houses. It was indeed different from what is being endeavored in previous home developments. Apart from the high standard of construction, it will feature well-structured roads, sidewalks, pavements, and all other necessary amenities. The development has been in the making for some time now, stated Mr. Obonyo. However, physical construction began 2 years ago following its launch in November 2010.
The brainchild of the project is our chairman, Mr. Randall Victor. He also is from Dukesville, and he had the opportunity over 20-30 years ago of purchasing land in the Bell Valley estate. But since he's a very community-minded person, he decided to rally around a number of people. And what effectively happened was 10 individuals for 10 acres of land. He then, through his efforts, brought together a number of shareholders who then acquired about 13 acres of land, which is now the Dukesville Housing Development. And also there is 5 acres of land which is being developed as part of a wellness complex plus retirement homes. So this is going to be a phase 2 of what we would call the whole development in that area.
The project is backed by 30 shareholders, some residing in the United Kingdom and Dominica. Mr. Obonyo says interested persons can visit their website at www.dukesvilleda.com. They can fill in a form for submission and will be contacted with more information on the procedures to purchase land. He pointed out that the land varies in price from $10 to $14 a square foot. As there will be no physical gate to enter the community, a number of security cameras will be placed to deter criminals.
So what we're doing at the moment is that we're selling the land and we're putting all of the basic infrastructure. Dukesville is in a position also to build for people who have bought lots and are not interested in buying themselves. But it will be up to the people in terms of what design they do. Although on the website we have some suggested designs, so we could also help. Dukesville could act as a one-stop shop and provide everything. I also would like to say at this point that we are aware that there are many Dominicans, particularly those abroad, who have had very bad experiences in terms of building homes in Dominica. But Dukesville is using a very open approach in terms of accountability. And if there were people who had doubts, I mean, these doubts could certainly be overcome very quickly in terms of the open approach we're using.
Mr. Obonio says the long-term goal of this project is to construct 47 homes in 5 years, which will see the completion of Phase 1. Following Phase 1 completion, they will move to Phase 2, which involves the construction of holiday homes, and Phase 3 of the project, dubbed the Duncan's Project, which is the construction of a wellness complex. The complex will be a multi-purpose building where there will be training for young people from the villages of Dubla and Bioche. There will also be the construction of sheltered homes for senior or retired persons.
Development costs will be in the region of $3.4 million. And that includes, putting in the roads and the electricity and water and a lot, because water, we'll have to have a storage tank for the water, and a lot of proper drains and sidewalks and a lot. So it will cost in the region of $3.4 million EC dollars.
Although the project is in the early stages of construction, the interest from the public in acquiring land in the community is encouraging, added Mr. Obonio. In tragic stories, one female was rushed to the Princess Margaret Hospital following a vehicular accident in Canefield, across from the Canefield ballpark in the vicinity of Al Motors near the Canefield bus stop. The incident occurred at about 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, February 17, 2013. It is reported that a female who was the lone occupant of the vehicle at the time, while driving in a southerly direction, lost control of a Suzuki SX4 car and made contact with a concrete pavement. The vehicle then crossed over the gutter and flipped over. The woman was trapped in the car until she was freed by fire and ambulance personnel who arrived on the scene shortly after. Reports are that the victim was seen bleeding from her head while she was being freed from the vehicle. The vehicle was extensively damaged as a result of the incident, which attracted a number of curious onlookers. Information on the identity of the victim was unknown at press time, and efforts to contact the police public relations officer proved futile. SAT TV News will provide an update as soon as more information becomes available. In other stories, the first ever controversial Calypso Show held on Saturday, February 16, 2013 at the Harlem Plaza took flight when 8 competitors vied for the crown. However, Madison Daddy Miller Etienne emerged the first People's Controversial Calypso King. Ironically, his song Illegal Calypso King was a crowd favorite. Miller, a young calypso singer, performed his best as he sang about the illegalities in our flawed society. The crowd was seen dancing at the feet of Miller's popular rendition of his winning song.
Illegal Calypso King, true, so grummy. People don't have to respect me. I am willing to do anything. Ooh, yeah. I just can't wait to be king.
In addition to the crown, Daddy Miller took home $5,000 in cash and prizes.
A young Calypso singer from the village of Fun Prospect came into the Calypso arena. My guess is true. Who can argue? If the commissioner of police illegal, then a Calypso king can be unconstitutional too. Let's get live! If the Prime Minister illegal and the President illegal, then I want to be your first illegal Calypso king.
In other performances, Shadow Flow did a good performance where he acted like a drunken man with a glass of rum in his hand. His song was entitled Rum and the Party.
I don't know who win. I don't even know I sing. I don't think I'm see me and the boys, why the man making noise? I don't think I'm it's not see me play, drink a rum. I don't think I don't think for the rum and the party.
Darrows gave a dynamic performance with his popular song which won him road match, Bayo Babalen. He was dressed as a priest with a candle in one hand. Although the candle was not lit, the crowd compensated for that as they raised their lit candles up in the air.
Who come in the cry? They have to do the time. You know justice delayed. It's justice denied. By your Baba land, the man well, by your Baba land. By your Baba land, the man well, by your Baba land.
Other participants in this event were Trendsetter, Checo, Sulphur, and Mighty Logas. Visitors are invited to come enjoy a truly unique nature island experience which will bring them closer to nature in all its amazing beauty in the village of Waton-Waven. Waton-Waven's Sulphur River Tours, a nature experience like no other, offers several fascinating features like bubbling pots of hot water, fumaroles rivers, and even a waterfall. Chairman of the Waton-Waven Development Committee, Mr. Rudolph George, says the Waton-Waven Sulphur Springs have attracted visitors for centuries and have long been recognized as a potential source for geothermal energy. Although the trail took about 4 years to build, Mr. George believes that the hard work and effort was definitely worth it.
What we have at present developing is the Sulphur River Tour Trail. The Sulphur River Tour Trail, it's something that a new attraction for not only visitors out of Dominica, for Dominicans in general and visitors by extension. The Sulphur River Tour Trail is an area where you can get a 3-in-1 package. You can bathe in the sulphur in the river, fresh flowing lukewarm water, and you can also bathe in the hot water tub, which is bathroom temperature. Then you have a view of the different sulphur springs, or you can have the view of the sulphur springs and then take a bath in any of the river and then the hot water.
He added that the idea originated from a discussion amongst the Waton-Waven Development Committee members. They were brainstorming on ways to develop the committee when the idea came to mind.
And the Sulphur River Tour Trail is one of the things that came up from one of the brainchild of the development committee. We have worked, we have begged, we have seek funding, we have gotten a little of assistance from the government and also private sectors like Mr. Pelwy, Clement Pelwy, and 1 or 2 other persons in the community. The villagers have came out and they have really worked with voluntary service so that we can develop the trail. The trail is ready now. The hot water, we have 2 hot water tubs or tubs, yes, so people can actually bathe in the hot water. And so what we actually try now to do is to sell out to the tour operators so we can actually capitalize on the cruise ship passengers and visitors visiting the village of Waton-Waven.
Mr. George made mention of the hot springs bubbling and the steam raising along the side of the river, as well as the larger fumaroles bubbling grey mud and steaming vents that tinge the air with sulphurous gases further up the hill. He said the vegetation in the area is well adapted to the environment and plants associated with the fumaroles area such as the scarlet bromeliad thrive.
Somebody wants to really take that tour. 1, you get your physical exercise for the morning. 2, you have a fresh water bath. 3, you have one of the most attractive boiling sulphur spring here beside the boiling lake in that trail. And 4, you relax in the warm water. It's an area where that's rather peaceful. It's quiet. You do not hear the sound of vehicles. You do not hear the sound of persons except if there are people on the trail. And you relax with nature. And you can just stay there, spend half an hour, spend an hour, and reflect on your life, get in touch with nature, and relax for the entire day.
Persons who seek more information can contact Mr. Rudolph George at the main center in Waton-Waven. In more stories, Granby police are in the process of investigating the death of Ansem St. Luke, 36 years of Bulum, Granby. It was reported that earlier today, Ansem was using a power grinder which was attached to an electrical power outlet on his porch when the blade flew off and lodged into his left groin area. He immediately succumbed to his injuries. Mr. St. Luke was pronounced dead at the scene by the district medical officer and was transported shortly after to the Princess Margaret Hospital, mortuary, pending a post-mortem to determine the cause of death. In other investigations, on February 18, 2013, 46-year-old Alice Alcendor, a teacher of the Sulphur Primary School, was discovered in an unconscious state at her house in Sulphur by a co-worker after she had complained of not feeling well the day before. The body was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital and Emergency Department, where it was examined and pronounced dead. A coroner's inquest will be convened to be followed by a post-mortem examination to determine the cause of death. SAD TV News will give you an update on both stories as soon as they become available. And in court tonight, Vivian Charles of Providence, Loda, who appeared before Magistrate Ozil Lewis on Monday, February 18, 2013, was not required to plea as he was charged with murder, which is an indictable offense. The 53-year-old was denied bail, and the trial in his murder case will begin on July 29, 2013, while disclosure has been set for May 31, 2013. Charles was arrested for the murder of Richard Roy Lazarus of Trafalgar, whose body was discovered about 30 feet in the bushes from the main road at Providence in the vicinity of Loda Village at about 3 p.m. on February 13, 2013. Charles is from the village of Mount Prosper but residing at Loda. He is represented by attorney Wayne Nordy.
I don't know who win. I don't even know who sing. See me and the boys, by the bar making noise. It's us in the place. Drink the rum and wine your ways. I only come, I only come, I only come for the rum and the party. I only come, I only come, I only come for the rum and the party. Give me glass.
In other court news, the rum and the party did not stop for one man following Carnival starting of the Lenten season, as he was charged for stealing alcohol at the Roseau Magistrate Court on Monday, February 18, 2013. Edmund Charles of River Street pled guilty to the charge of theft when he was caught trying to walk out of Lindomad Supermarket in Goodwill with a bottle of Black Label rum. According to the facts of the case, an employee who was at work on Sunday, February 17, 2013, noticed Charles heading straight to the alcohol section upon entering the supermarket. After taking a good look at the alcohol on the shelves, he then turned and attempted to leave the store. The employee, however, noticed an unusual bulge under his shirt. She stopped him from leaving and asked Charles what he had under his shirt. On lifting Charles' shirt, she saw a bottle of Black Label rum. The employee then called the security guard for assistance, who then called the police. When questioned by the police, Charles said he was sorry. He was cautioned and arrested, then transported to the Roseau police station. When given the chance by Magistrate Ozil Lewis to explain the reason for his actions or why he should not impose a custodial sentence on him, the defendant said he has nothing to say. Before sentencing, Magistrate Lewis revealed that Charles has a lengthy criminal record, which includes a number of offenses of theft, one of which as current as 2011, which he said shows Charles have not learned his lesson. He added Charles's silence shows unrepentant. Charles was sentenced to 4 months imprisonment. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.